You're probably wondering, who is this guy and how do I know he has the best tips? Well, these are my old accounts and this is my current one. So yeah, I'm pretty experienced in this realm. I've had a bit more than 2+ million values slip through my fingers, so I'm pretty well rounded when it comes to trading. I mainly focused on smaller items, never really trading more than 300,000 or so in a single trade, so my tips are pretty basic. When I started off trading, I was really young and I got scammed all the time until I met someone named Drew, but I always called him Andy. He had been trading for years and had around 2 million on him, so he really knew what he was doing. He taught me 90% of what I know about trading, and I'm here to pass that knowledge on to you. Unfortunately, Andy ended up terminating my first account, Flexagons. If you want to hear more about that, I'd recommend my other video, but for now, let's get into this first tip. This one is super simple. Upgrade for equal, downgrade for an overpay. You might think downgrading is bad, but it's just how you say you're getting a bunch of items for one item. Nobody really wants a bunch of garbage, which means you can get a solid overpay for taking it off of someone's hands. I'd say usually around 300 or so depending on the size of the item you're downgrading. Low demand items are definitely exception to this rule though. Typically the best thing to do with them is to just lump them up with a bunch of other items that have decent demand and go for an upgrade, which you should try to get for around equal, but I wouldn't overpay more than 1 to 200 even if it is like a good demand item. That is not enough reason to be overpaying 500. That's how those people make their money. You should be the one getting those overpays. Get the items for cheap, then you can be the one asking for the 500 overpay, and some people will do it, but do not overpay 500 to upgrade. Even if you have half low demand, half normal demand. If it's all low demand, then yeah, I would probably do the 500 just to get rid of the stuff, because then you'll have an easier time. You can be more careful with the stuff you get after, you know. You probably know it as the projected site, and it is useful for that, sure, but it serves other purposes as well. I mainly use the check-in items wrap. You can get a general idea of how much something is expected to be worth on average just by looking at this graph. I usually set it to 1 month and view what the wrap stays at. They also have the item table that can show you literally every limit on Roblox, and you can search whatever you want. I use this a lot just to see what valued items are in my price range. This one's a little more complex. The more wrap you're giving, the more it's worth. For example, you'd need to give the full 4,000 for the legit fedora, but for something that's worth 7,000, you could probably get away with like 6,500 in just pure wrap, or maybe even a little cheaper. But a 10,000 valued item, that's where you can get a better deal. You could probably get it for 9,000 if you gave good demand wrap items and you got a little lucky. If you're giving wrap and value, then it just goes by the normal rules. You want to go for equal. That's only pure wrap. But value and wrap, go for equal. Equal is good when you're upgrading. This is a low demand item. This is a projected. You see the difference? Well, apparently a lot of people don't, because every time I try to come back to trading, there's always some moron who calls my low demand item projected and me a scammer for even offering it to them. If you can tell the difference between these two graphs, then congratulations, you are smarter than almost everyone I've met in Trade Hangout. Anyway, all projected items are low demand, but not all low demand items are projected. If a popular item is projected, it won't be for very long because people will continue buying it, which keeps its average price at a normal rate, so the outliers don't affect them as much. An item's wrap is the last month or so of sales averaged together. So if an item sells at 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, then all of a sudden at 50,000, the average is going to shoot up because of that outlier purchase. And it won't stay there because that was not a real purchase. It was, but it wasn't a natural purchase. It won't happen again. It only happened because someone probably got cookie logged and then some dude is trying to transfer the Robux over to his main, or it just could be as simple as a rich dude goofing off just because. So now that we know what projecteds are, what do we do with them? Well, that's easy. All you have to do is find some chump to dump them off onto before the value goes all the way back down. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but this is what everyone does to go up in value. If you don't flip your projected on the innocent child, someone else will. They're going to learn this lesson one way or the other, so this way at least you gain from it. This can take a really long time to find someone unaware enough to flip your projected onto because everyone's watching videos like this telling them what projecteds are. But I promise you, if you don't give up, you will eventually find someone to take it. If you don't want to flip the projecteds because you feel bad, then you can give them to someone who will flip them instead. You can get a small win for it. Just like I talked about earlier with the wrap graph, you can see how much it was worth, get maybe 500 overpay or more, depending on the value of the thing, and just call that a win. That's easy value right there. Probably a demand upgrade too. Or if you don't have any projecteds, you can find people who were recently scammed and tell them, look at the price of their item, and if that freaks them out, you can tell them it's going to go down, but don't worry, you can give them a good deal. But trust me when I say everyone who has a lot of value flipped projecteds. It is by far the best way to gain value. But there's always the option to take things slow, and that's what you could do if you don't want to flip projecteds. I used to stock up on low demands and wait for them to go projected and then flip them for pretty much anything I could and then upgrade that into some cool stuff. That's how I got most of my value back in the day. Let me know if you liked this video. I'm sure I could come up with more tips if y'all want more. I could also do a video where you tell me your situations and I tell you how to get unstuck or whatever's going on.